told y'all last week that I would try to do a video on making some homemade kefir milk, and so that is what I'm going to do today, along with making a homemade lasagna, some garlic biscuits, and a fresh salad. It is summertime, and so anything that you can make ahead is really nice. And as far as these kefir smoothies go, they're so easy and so delicious, and also very, very good for you. So we're going to start with that today and walk you all through the process of what milk kefir is and exactly how to make it. So in order to make milk kefir, you do need the kefir grains, and you can order those online. I got mine from Etsy actually, and they came in about a week or two. I got those, and then as soon as I got my farm milk, or our raw milk that we're getting from a local farm, you just have to activate the milk kefir grains, and so it takes a couple of days to activate them, and you can't keep the kefir milk. So you put the grains in a jar, you pour milk over top, but then you have to discard that milk for a couple of days and you can't use it. But once they're activated, you can start keeping the milk from your kefir grains. So like I said, you put your kefir grains in the bottom of your jar, you pour your milk over top of that and let it sit for 24 hours or however long you like. The longer it goes, the stronger that the milk gets, and it has all kinds of wonderful probiotics in it for you. And so you put this little coffee filter paper towel on top and you secure it, and then you let it sit like I said, and then whenever you're ready to strain it, you just pour it into a plastic strainer and strain it off. It will look kind of clumpy like this milk does, and you can put it into a mason jar and keep it in your refrigerator. And so I'm actually making a kefir milk smoothie for breakfast, and so what I did was I took one whole banana, and then I did about a cup of store-bought kefir milk, which is the blueberry or strawberry flavor, and then I added in about a quarter cup of the homemade kefir milk. I do like this combination just because the kefir milk that I make is really strong and potent, so the store-bought kefir milk mixed with mine, it just tames down the flavor a little bit and makes it easier on your stomach. So that's super simple how to make kefir milk. I've been doing it for a few weeks now, and I really, really like it. My mom is actually the one that got me interested in it and started reading about it, but it's really good for you if you want to look into it. It's definitely something that I think you all would like, and it's really, really good for you. So today I'm just going to talk a little bit about contentment in the home as a homemaker. I'm doing just some regular things that I always do around the house: laundry, putting dishes away, and it was on my heart this week to talk about being content with what you have, with where you are in life, with what you're doing. And it's not that you can't continue to look and be happy about the future, but just being content with where you are right now, and also just giving yourself grace for the season that you're in. As a homemaker, I think sometimes we look ahead so much, or we're so focused in on things, but we live in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, and so our boys are sharing a room upstairs. They have a closet they share, a dresser they share. So just keeping everything kind of organized is key to being content in our home. I love our home, even though it's a little bit smaller. I really, really like the space, and I think that the smaller home just brings us a little closer together. So we're going to get started on our lasagna. This is one of my really favorite recipes, and it's so easy. I don't really measure anything, but I get about a cup of mozzarella cheese, a cup of cottage cheese, and I added in some oregano, parsley, onion powder, garlic powder, salt into this mixture. And then I added in some breadcrumbs and a couple of eggs, and I just mixed it with my hands, and that's going to be like your cheese in between your meat and your lasagna noodles. This is something that is really easy to make ahead if you need to put some tinfoil on it and stick it in your refrigerator, or if you want to even make it in a throwaway container, you could freeze it. You could take it to a family, or if you're doing a meal train, something like that. Very, very easy to make ahead. Or if you have something going on later in the evening and you want to have meal or your dinner prepped and ready to put in the oven, you can make this ahead of time. So I did 2 pounds of ground beef, and I cooked that in the cast iron skillet until all of that was browned up. And I did add in the same seasonings, just parsley, oregano, garlic powder, onion powder, salt, and like I didn't measure any of that, so I just sprinkled it into my till my, you know, I figured it was good. And then once you have all of that cooked, I did take my meat off of the burner and actually strain all of the grease out. For whatever reason, this meat I feel like is a lot fattier than normal. We're used to deer meat, which is really lean. It doesn't have a lot of fat. That's usually what we cook with the most, but we've ran out of deer meat and now we're using ground beef. And so I'm having to strain off a lot of the fat, which is okay. I just take it off and I put it into a metal strainer and push the meat down through the strainer and just drain the grease off into a separate bowl. And that's what I'm doing here, is just getting that off. That way it's not cooked in with our food, and it would make the lasagna really runny, so you don't want to leave that in there. If you have a leaner meat, you probably won't have to do this, but like I said, this one has a little bit of a higher fat content. You're going to grease your casserole dish and preheat your oven to 375. And then once you're done draining all of your grease out, you go ahead and add in your tomato sauce. I just used regular tomato sauce, and then I added the seasonings in as I went. So you can add in whatever you want into that. I did the same seasonings. So now you're going to layer up your lasagna. You start with the meat and you layer that all on the bottom, and then you add in your lasagna noodles, just one by one. One by one, add in your lasagna noodles, and these are oven ready lasagna noodles, so you don't have to worry about boiling them. You just stick them right in and they'll cook. And then you layer in the cheese mixture on top of your lasagna noodles and spread that out evenly over top. And then you just continue on with the meat, the noodles, and then you're gonna top it off with meat. And then you will add in, on top of the whole thing, you will sprinkle with shredded mozzarella cheese. And I did cover mine and baked it. So I covered mine with aluminum foil and baked it at 375 for about 45 minutes, and it was perfect. You could take the tinfoil off the last maybe 10 minutes or so and just allow the cheese to get really nice and bubbly. And then to go with this lasagna, I decided to make some garlic butter biscuits, and I didn't actually walk through that whole process. I just did a regular biscuit recipe, and then I added in some melted homemade raw butter or grass-fed butter, and then I added in some minced garlics, some garlic salt, and just mixed that all together and poured that into just my regular biscuit mix and baked that in the oven to go along with this lasagna. That way we would have a bread side. I didn't have anything else prepped and ready, so I just did those garlic biscuits, and those really were super easy and turned out as a really great side to go with this. And then I also made a chopped up salad, and I just did like loose leaf lettuce and just whatever vegetables that we had in the refrigerator at the time. That way we could use those up. And so like I said, you bake this at 375 for 45 minutes. And then this is the garlic butter biscuits actually, so I topped those off with some melted butter and garlic as well. So they were pretty garlicky, but we really like that flavor, so we didn't mind it too much. Like I said, I did a chopped salad, and I also made a homemade buttermilk ranch. So I just did like a ranch seasoning packet, some mayonnaise, some buttermilk, and I just shook it up in a mason jar, and that was our dressing. So very simple and easy. This meal is something that, like I said, you can make ahead of time if you need to take it somewhere or if you're going somewhere, and it feeds a lot. We had plenty of leftovers. It was really delicious. The kids loved it. So if y'all want to make that, just let me know if you do make it and how it turns out for you all, or what you guys are cooking this week. We're so happy that you stuck around with us, and we hope to see you again next week. Y'all have a great day.